Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
All right, groovy. We are here. This is the Badass Counseling Show. I am Sven Erlandson, and you unfortunately are stuck listening to me, you misfit of humanity. And we have a great show. Wherever you are tuning in from, whether it is Lake Pontchartrain or Lake Victoria, Quebec City, or Cuernavaca, it's great to have you here. I am joined in studio by my dear friends and colleagues, Casey over there in the booth and Rob the Rocket sitting next to me. Rob, what say ye?
I love it when you say groovy. It takes me right back to my youth.
I'll bet it
Appreciate
does.
That. I'm feeling young.
And in the summer of love, the year of my birth, where were you, young man?
You're talking about 67?
67, baby.
I was a freshman in college and oblivious to the love.
And freshman in college. That was down south, right?
No, actually, that was upstate New York.
RPI. Right on, Daddy-O. I love it. I love it. And were you a hippie?
Well, I had very long hair, and I was on the college radio station playing a lot of what is now classic rock, but was current at the time.
Oh, so, right on.
You could say that.
Groovy, baby. All right. Rob, I know that we have two very distinct stories, distinct individuals tonight, and we're going to do just a hair different from what we normally do. Yes, we're taking them both at the same time, and normally we would read both their stories at the same time, and I told the guests we're going to read their stories at the same time, but we're not. We're actually going to read Doc first. Doc is we're going to take them at the same time, but read Doc's bio first, and then we're going to hear about Wendy after I talk to Doc for a couple of minutes.
All right, Sven, very good. Doc wrote in, and the subject line says, starting over, but the guilt still lingers. And the message was, I need help navigating divorce, guilt, and building a healthy future after a difficult marriage. I'm 45 years old, divorced for 6+ years, raising 2 kids, one autistic, struggling with self-harm, and engaged to my former emotional affair partner, now in a long-distance relationship. Despite years of personal growth, I still have some demons. My ex is still angry, and I worry about how my past impacts my new marriage and my kids. I'd love your insight on releasing guilt, co-parenting with a resentful ex, and ensuring my family thrives. My whole family is back in the U.S. They're all evangelical Christians, and we have very different political views. And they don't accept my child's gender identity. And I work in a field to develop technologies and solutions to reduce global warming, which, of course, they believe is not real. I'm halfway through with the journaling exercises and have written many letters. Thank you.
All right, Doc, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sven.
I'm going to ask just a couple of real quick questions. You're engaged, but you're in a long-distance relationship. How great is the distance?
Yeah, it takes about 4 hours. It takes 2 planes.
Okay, 4 hours. Great. And your ex is still angry. I worry about how my past impacts my new marriage and my kids. Just out of curiosity, what is the single biggest way that your past impacts your new marriage and kids? Single biggest way in one sentence or less.
I have some guilt in the way that I met my fiance, I guess. That's
And
part of it.
the
And
guilt and what else?
yeah. And since my children are currently struggling with things, I wonder if the reasons for that could be my fault, or is it something that I could have done differently?
What is the single biggest way your children are struggling with things?
My oldest child is struggling with depression and anxiety, and it's taken us a very long time to get a diagnosis for this. We recently have found out that she is autistic, but finding this diagnosis in a foreign country, foreign language, navigating the system has been really tough.
How long has the depression and anxiety been there?
About 2.5 years or so is when we really saw it.
How long have you lived in the foreign country?
Almost 20 years.
And your child has lived in the foreign country almost 20 years?
They were born in the country, yes.
So then it wouldn't be reasonable to assume that the depression and anxiety, having been there 2.5 years, are linked to being in a foreign country. If the child grew up,
No,
okay,
definitely not. No,
got it.
Yeah, no.
How old is your oldest child then, suffering from depression and anxiety?
They're 13, and it's been about 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
13.
Probably before, but 2 years when they came off.
Got it. And you wonder if the guilt is somehow, if the depression and anxiety is somehow your cause, and how do you think you have caused the depression and anxiety of your oldest child?
No, I would like to take that back. I don't think that I caused that, but I think that the entire family dynamic, it's been difficult to navigate all of these things with the divorce, the trying to build a future here, and also navigating these children who are the most important part of the whole picture. And I wonder, am I being selfish for choosing my own happiness in this as well, and how to balance that. So
and since you have, to use your words, chosen your own happiness, are you happy?
I am happy. Yes, at least I'm very much happy in my relationship. I'm very happy in my career. I love my kids tremendously, but not a second goes by that I don't worry about them and just want them to be happy.
Sure. Understandable. And you state, releasing guilt. And so the single biggest thing that you feel guilty over, in your entire life is what?
The divorce and having my children have to live in 2 separate homes.
Is the biggest thing that you feel guilty over the divorce, or that you left your children's father for an affair? Is it the divorce, or how the divorce came to be?
It's
Which
the second. It's how, but at the same time, I'm happy that it happened because it helped me figure out what was needed. So yes.
Okay, so then
I
is
wish
it that you
it had
feel
been different?
Oh, of course. And is the reason, just so I'm clear, is the reason you wish it had been different because the way it happened makes you look bad? In other words, is it that you feel guilt, or is it that you feel sort of embarrassed or shame because it was an affair? So you don't feel guilt over the divorce per se. It just makes you fucking look bad to your kids.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, and it was only an emotional affair, of course. That's not
understood.
justifiable.
And so what?
But yes, I agree.
So
Yeah.
is it the divorce? Is it that I feel guilt over the divorce, or is that I feel fear of what my kids think of me because I had an affair? Which is it?
It's the kids. It's how they see me.
That's
how they will see me.
So you don't feel guilt per se. And
I feel guilt for him. I feel very much guilt for it.
Oh, for him. See, now we've brought in another element.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel, okay, so then let me ask you this. Of those two feelings that you're feeling, guilt towards him and fear of what your children think of you, what percent of this sort of jumble of feeling that you feel, what percent is it that you feel guilt towards him, and what percent is it that you feel fear of what your children think of you? And be honest.
10-90. 10 hurt him, 90 kids. Fear.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so it's not guilt. So we've just basically taken that, and that, right. And the way to release that guilt, write them a letter that you don't send. Write them 10 fucking letters.
I sent him the letters.
Well, and that's okay. The only reason I normally recommend don't sending them is because I was the guy who sent all of them, and it didn't get anything, and I realized I kind of embarrassed myself and whatever. But send them, don't send them. But I just recommend, because you're doing it for you. And
I have done it.
And great. Yeah. And keep journaling about it. Yep. And that's it. And it'll go, because eventually all you're doing is flushing. And then the other thing is you've got fear of what your children think of you. and fear of impact on that. And that's fucking journaling on that shit. And in the end, as I talk about in my book, there's a hole in my love cup. You have to remember, children love parents more than parents love children. And I know that seems insane to every single parent. But the way I sort of play with that question or invert the question is a child will endure far more at the hands of a parent than a parent would ever endure at the hands of a child. So that, if we take that as an indicator of love, I have clients into their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, still longing for that connection and love with the parent, from the parent. Your children, even if they are sad over what you did, even if they're mad at you, even if they're hurt by you, they want a connection with you because they want your love. They don't want your fear. They love you. If you've hurt them, your contrition, your atonement, your apology, your acknowledgement of hurting them will go a million miles. But in the end, the reason they want that is because they want you to pour love into your love cup. That's it. It's a simple goddamn formula. Give them attention, give them love, bring peace to their souls, encouragement. You said, I have a fucking child who has a gender identity thing, and you're standing with your child in opposition to your fucking parent. Don't think that doesn't go about 1,000 miles in your child's brain and saying, my mama supports me. That's a beautiful motherfucking thing. Whatever your child is, all right? Now, my followers and listeners can't see the fact that you're crying right now. So talk to me about what you're feeling right now.
So many things.
What is the biggest thing? Give me a feeling word. I want a feeling word right now. What is the biggest thing you are feeling right now, Doc?
Proud.
You should be.
Sort of.
Hell yeah. You're doing it right, Doc. Your kids just want you to love them. Just love them. It's a pretty simple goddamn formula, and you're doing it right. You don't have to be afraid of whether or not they like you or approve of you. You know, you can always be open to hearing their feelings later, and you want to leave that door open. Hey, if I've hurt you, door's always open, and I want to own that shit. Don't be worried about whether or not, they like you and shit like that. You don't have to, that comes from a place of weakness and your own insecurities. And that's standing in the way of you just being an instrument of love in their lives. Okay. All right. I have one last question I'm going to ask you, but that's after we go and meet Wendy. Rob, tell us about Wendy.
Okay, Sven, Wendy wrote in and her subject line says, lacking support. She said at 3, I had alopecia. My mom says she laughed when the doctor said it was due to stress. Parents divorced around 10 years old. I was severely depressed as a teen and made a suicide attempt. I am perpetually lacking support in life, estranged from all family, and only interact with doctors, social media, and my roommate at this point. I have endometriosis, which stole my career, my partners, friends, mobility, and a pain-free life. I feel so stuck and useless. I'm exhausted. I want out of this body in never-ending pain. I want to find happiness.
Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure having you. Wendy, did I just hear your voice break?
Yeah, I've just been crying the whole time.
Why are you crying, Wendy?
Because, when you said kids want parents' love, it's just I feel abandoned.
You should feel abandoned. You were abandoned.
I feel so abandoned.
Yes, you were abandoned, Wendy. You absolutely should feel abandoned. That's the very first thought I had when Rob read it for us, what you wrote into us. Think about this. At 3, I had alopecia. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I want you to correct me, Wendy, if I'm getting this wrong, it's hair loss. It's involuntary hair loss. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had bald patches on my head and would wear hats all the time.
Very good. At age 3, and the next sentence is, my mom says she laughed when the doctor said it was due to stress. Now, you says she laughed, so that either says you weren't in the room or you were too young to remember.
I have no memory of this, but it's a story my mom will tell. I I feel like she's told it every holiday practically.
And it's almost, I have to believe, when I'm reading that, it's almost as though every time she tells the story, she's laughing again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your mother mocking you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your mother mocking the doctor, your mother mocking you for...
And not caring for my health.
Exactly. She's getting it literally from an expert. Literally. It's like your plumber is saying, you have water flooding your kitchen, and it's because of not the pipe in your kitchen, it's because of the pipe upstairs in your attic. And your dad says, "Ha, that's fucking stupid. It's the kitchen." And the plumber's like, "You're an idiot. I'm a plumber."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not, I have to believe, Wendy, that it's being received by you. Not just mom is mocking and not taking your diagnosis seriously, but she's mocking not just that it was due to the stress, but in a way, it's got to feel like she's just mocking you having alopecia to begin with. Just mocking you, period.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And in a way, that means then that she's been mocking you, mocking your diagnosis, mocking the source since you were a child, since before you have memory.
Yeah. And like the alopecia resolved on its own, but then there was always other health issues. There was always something wrong.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and now I have the endometriosis diagnosis.
Okay.
And just looking back on that, it's like, oh, okay, well, no wonder, there was so many issues throughout my whole life.
Okay, and that was going to be the question I was going to ask you. You personally, different people have different beliefs on this, and of course, science has science on this, but I want to know your personal belief. Do you believe personally that there is a link between the sort of emotional, psychological, and the physical? In other words, if a person has emotional, serious emotional shit going on, that will manifest physically, particularly over time?
I don't believe my endometriosis is due to trauma or physical emotions. That's separate.
Fair.
But I do know that my body responds to stress very strongly.
So then, do you agree personally with the doctor's diagnosis when you were 3?
Yes.
So when the doctor diagnosed that, so then when you were severely depressed as a teen and made a suicide attempt, my question is, why did you commit suicide?
There's a few reasons.
What was the biggest at the very top of the list? What was at the very top of the list? As a person who has also committed suicide, and I have the 9-inch scars up each of my forearms to prove it.
I was lonely.
You were lonely.
I was lonely. That was the number one reason. I was really, really alone.
And were you alone at school? Were you alone at home? Were you alone both?
Everywhere. The only time I felt like I wasn't alone was on the computer, MSN, because I grew up in the 90s, so new chat sites and that sort of thing.
Sure. Already attempted suicide as a teen, severely depressed as a teen, already very lonely as a teen. When would you say your loneliness started in life?
Probably before I remember.
Okay. And have you ever...
I have memories.
Have you ever in your life hated yourself?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you hate yourself presently?
No.
Okay. And what was the age when you hated yourself most?
Probably the same year I made the suicide attempt.
And how old were you then, roughly?
I was 18.
Okay.
And I'm 34 now.
34. And what percent would you say you hated yourself when you were 18?
It's hard to recall, but if I had to guess, I don't know, 75%.
75%, okay. And what would you say is the earliest age in your life that you hated yourself even 10%?
Probably close to the divorce, so around 10 years old.
10 years old. And what percent would you say you hated yourself at 10 years old?
I don't know if I really had the concept of like hating myself at the time.
But looking back, you did pick that age. So if you were to affix a percent to it, what would you guess?
I'll say like 10%.
Fair enough. And presently, you say you're perpetually lacking support. You're estranged from all family and only interact with doctors, social media, and my roommate at this point. And you feel so stuck and useless. You're exhausted. You want out of this body in never-ending pain. And I want to find happiness. Of all of the things that you list in your write-up, what is in all of it the single worst part of your life presently, in one sentence or less?
The loneliness and not having the support. My mom doesn't even know how to pronounce my diagnosis.
You also state that I'm estranged from all family. Does that include mom?
So estranged in the sense that they live in a different province across the country, and the amount of communication is only text message, very sparingly.
Okay. Which,
ironically, my mom texted me yesterday and today because my grandmother is, she has to have surgery soon, and there's been issues and complications with that.
So you keep your mother in your life, and dumb question, but an honest question. Why is your mother in your life?
I haven't figured out a way to say I don't want you in my life.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
I don't know.
That's nonsense. You know how to say I don't want you in my life. Well, let me ask you this question. Have you ever in your entire life cut someone out of your life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you do know how to cut someone out of your life. So
yeah,
but what? But
it's family.
Whoa. All right.
There's the expectations.
And whose expectation is it? Is it your expectation?
Like society.
So it's not your, wait, is it your expectation? Do you believe, I want to know what you believe. Do you believe that there needs to be special rules for family? And if you do, that's okay. I just want to know what you believe, Wendy.
I don't, and I like.
Who should there be? Who should you, in your value system, have special rules for? In your value system,
the people that love me and care for me and support me.
Now you said you only have contact with doctors, social media, and your roommate. Would it be safe to say that you trust your doctors, you trust and like your roommate, and that in social media, whether that includes gaming sites or whatever, maybe there are a few people you interact with and have some measure of trust, but basically your doctors and your roommate you trust, and so at the very least you would have you have interaction with doctors and roommate. You haven't cut them out of your life because they've shown some measure of respect, some measure of trust, some measure of love. Reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the doctors, it's kind of just a necessity.
Understood. But nonetheless, you do trust them. Every one of us has had a doctor where we say like, don't really like that doctor, or a dentist or what have you. Okay. And so when you say, well, it's a little different with family, it's only different not because it's inconsistent with your values. It's because cutting out family is inconsistent with some values that are not yours, which means you are still feeling obligated to keep values that are not yours. In other words, and whether you keep your mother in your life or not, that's up to you. I don't have a dog in this fight. But isn't it fascinating that you are still feeling the need to hew to values that are not yours? Particularly when it comes to the only person that you mentioned by name in your entire write-up who has caused you pain.
Yeah.
And yet you are protecting her almost like a protected species that we're going to protect. And she gets special treatment because, hey, she's family, but she's also the one person, more than anyone else you name in here by name, who has caused you a significant amount of pain, and at the age of 3.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back with much more.
So I was telling a buddy of mine how he seems happier. He told me about the book that changed his life. So I bit. I went to the Badass Counseling website and downloaded There's a Hole in My Love Cup audiobook. I started listening to it on my commute home from work, and holy cow, it was a Louisville slugger to the face. I literally sat in my car in the driveway night after night, listening through to the end of a chapter or doing the journaling exercises. My wife started to see changes. I started to change a lot. My default response stopped always being anger. Now I manage a team of salespeople, and I changed as a leader. I was listening more, not always just reacting. When their numbers started going up seemingly out of nowhere, I knew what the reason was. There's a Hole in My Love Cup is now required listening for any person on my sales team or working for me, and I gladly buy it for them. You gotta listen to this book.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with Doc and Wendy, now both in the room. I want to go back over to Doc. Doc, I have a question. When we left, you were crying, and I asked why you were crying. You said you were crying with pride, and you were almost sort of sheepish in admitting that you were feeling proud of yourself, presumably for your parenting, and I said that is good. Because I felt like you're doing it right. What are you feeling now as you've had a chance to sort of breathe a minute? And I took some time with Wendy. What's going on inside of you, Doc?
That was a really painful story that I had to hear, and I just can't believe that could happen to you. I feel so sorry for you, Wendy. I mean, I can't fathom how a mother couldn't care, but I mean, the mocking and that just is horrifying to me. I have similar issues with my family too, but I just,
Fair enough.
I just can't believe that, yeah.
Fair enough. Very gracious. And then regarding your stuff, Doc, you've had a chance to think since I asked you those questions and to feel. And so what's going on inside of you regarding this stuff that we talked about?
I mean, when you said that my kids will, that they want to love me regardless, and no matter what I do, as long as, not within reason, but as long as I'm able to apologize and we discuss and understand. But at the same time, parents don't deserve special treatment, right? So I find that hard to balance, kind of, in a way. I can't expect that they will always forgive me or love me just because I'm their parent, right? So I don't understand how to balance this.
And it's not that you can expect. What it is if you, in your work, Doc, if you offend a coworker, hurt them because of your words, you're just having a bad day, and you say something glib or offhanded, and you really hurt that person to the point where they go silent for the rest of the day, and you notice the next day they're silent. They come back to you 2 days later, and they pull you aside, and they say, listen, I have to tell you that what you said really wounded me. That really hurt. Now, do you expect them to forgive you? Do you expect them to whatever? No. What you expect, I think what we expect in civil society and what we expect from any compassionate person is that you own it. And you say, whether in that moment or later, and you say, wow, there's no excuse for what I did. There's no excuse. And if you don't forgive me, I would understand. What I did was wrong. And there's no excuse. I was off my game that day, but that is not an excuse. And I hurt you, and I can see how that would hurt. Given if I were in your circumstances, I can see how that hurt. And I am very, very sorry. And if you don't forgive, I understand. But I want you to know that it hurts me to know that I hurt you. Okay. So what you did, your actions created a breach between you and that friend at work. This person got wounded. And now this other person, person B, is by your person B, and A got wounded. They come back to you and say, hey, you wounded me. And then you say, wow, you're right, I did. Now, they have the power now whether to choose to repair the breach. You're choosing really not to repair the breach. You're choosing to repair them. You're saying your pain is because of me. And even if you choose to never repair the breach, I want to take away the pain that I caused you. I want to take away the rock that I put in that bag on your back. I want that back because that was my fault. And they may never.
I know.
Go ahead, please. What?
I think I know why I answered proud then, because I feel that especially your show has helped me so much to do this with my kids.
That's it.
I feel I'm really working, and the crying probably comes from that's all I'd ever want my own family to say to me, and they never did.
That's it.
So,
that's it.
And it's
so then
I'm
you're
projecting.
Well, and so then you're already a better parent than your parents were to you. And the worst part is your parents still have the chance every single day, and they're proving right. And that's the sad part. That's the heartbreaking part. Is it wasn't just what they did back then; it's they continue to do it, and by the fact that they don't own what they did every single day since you turned 20, that every single day they haven't done it only proves that what their parenting was like back then. And it's sad. And you're never going to have that relationship that you wanted. You're never going to get them repairing the breach or even owning what they did, which means you're never going to get them pouring that love into your love cup, which is the thing you've been holding out for the whole time, wanting that love that you never freaking got, which actually brings us to the question I wanted to ask you. I said, before I flipped over there to Wendy, I had one question I wanted to ask you. And you were talking about the guilt and all the feelings you felt towards your ex, and then all the fear that you had regarding your kids. You set it up as basically two separate subjects in your write-up. All the feelings of guilt and fear you had regarding your kids, and then you spent several sentences talking about your family and how your family doesn't accept your own child's agenda, and how your family doesn't accept your work, and they think it's, you working on global warming, it's hullabaloo and all this. So you set up really two separate issues, your present family, your immediate family, and then your family of origin. And what I want to know is, in your present life, what percent of your problems going on inside of you is related to the problems with your children, your husband, and your ex-husband, so your immediate family, and then what percent of your problems inside of you have to do with your family of origin? What percent? 60-40, 20-80, what are we talking about?
Probably 60-40.
And 60% your family, your immediate family, and 40% your family of origin?
Other way around.
Oh,
I think it's more, yeah.
It's more your family of origin that is causing your internal unrest. And what is at the root? What fundamentally is the problem regarding your stuff with your family of origin? Boil it down to one sentence. What really are we talking about?
I mean, the typical not feeling like I'm heard, that my voice matters, that my opinion matters.
Okay.
What I do doesn't really matter.
So then fundamentally then, what's the word consistent in all those sentences? Matter, don't matter, don't matter. So in other words, you don't matter to them. Who you really are doesn't matter to your family. Am I tracking here?
Not all of them. I mean, it's different with my mother, of course. But
is it different with your mother? Oh, so your mother accepts you for who you are?
Yeah. More so, yes. I mean, we've.
What is the single biggest thing about you What is the single biggest thing about you that your mother does not accept?
Definitely political opinions. But anytime I go against kind of what she thinks is the right thing to do, but at the same time, she's my biggest supporter in many ways too. And I mean,
okay. But long before your politics came out, as a child, what was the single biggest thing about you that your parents did not accept?
No, they accepted me. I just wasn't allowed to have a different opinion. I just had to do the right thing. I just felt
so it's a rejection it's a rejection of self. If you're not allowed to have an opinion, that means you're not allowed to have a voice.
I don't trust my voice now.
Well, that's just it. Precisely. Yeah. You tell a child they're not allowed to have an opinion. You're saying, I don't like your voice. And your voice is the external statement, as is how you dress and how you look, as we're seeing with Wendy, that your voice is the external statement of the self. And so if I'm saying to you, I don't like your voice, I don't like your opinion, shut the fuck up. I'm rejecting your voice. And by saying you should listen to my voice, I'm saying don't listen to your voice. And so you don't trust your own voice. And we just looked at your parenting and we realized, no, your fucking voice is awesome. Your parenting voice is awesome. You were taught a fucking lie that you don't have a good voice. When in fact, anybody who tells their child not to trust their own voice is a fucking idiot. They're the ones without a good voice. And it's just, and so what you're fundamentally wanting, the reason 60% of your pain is tied up in your parents is you're still wanting something from them. You are wanting confirmation of your worth, which is what brings us right back to you, Wendy. I want to know from you, Wendy, what is it you are still wanting from your mother that keeps you in her life? You know how to cut people out of your life. What is it that, what are you still wanting from your mother, Wendy?
I'm assuming love.
Okay. And if you got love, then what? What changes either inside of you or outside of you? If you got that love, then what?
I honestly don't know. It's just
speculate. Take a shot at it. You could change your mind in 2 minutes or 2 years. What? Then what? If you got that love, then what? Or if you prefer to answer, in what form? Love in what form?
I suppose acceptance and being heard.
Acceptance and heard. And if you got acceptance and being heard, then what? Then what happens around you or inside of you?
Well, I feel like I can't be who I am around my family.
Which means so then what you're saying, you're answering my question in the inverse. If I can't be who I am around my family, then if I felt acceptance and heard, then I
could be those things.
There you go. So then I could be who I am.
Yeah.
Could be who I am around family. Now, what's interesting about that sentence is not just the idea of I could be who I am, but that you tag on around family. But that's not fully true, is it, Wendy? Because you say, basically, if I'm hearing you correctly, that you have, you're isolated from all family, but then you go on to say, I only have contact with doctor, social media, and roommate. So you've isolated from all of the world, except doctor, social media, and roommate. So so in other words, that acceptance, it's not just that I could be who I am around family. I could be who I am around everyone. I could find that if I got, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mind being wrong, okay? I got no ego wrapped up in this. But if they accept me, I could be myself around family, and then it sounds like I could walk out the front door.
In a way, yes, but the isolation is primarily due to the loss of my mobility and the chronic pain.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha. That's fair. That's fair. Thank you for clearing that up. And then if I could be who I am around family, then what?
I feel like they think of me as that kid that committed suicide, and I did come out to my family about being bisexual and being polyamorous, and they all said they accept it, but I don't think they really did on an more than surface level.
Okay. You wanted to insert that there because I had asked the question, because then I could be who I am around family. And I said, if you could be who I am around family, then what? And then you said, I feel like the kid who committed suicide and I came out as bi and poly. How does that pertain to the question I asked of, if you could be who you are around family, then what?
It's hard for me to explain because it's just, I'm obviously not the 18-year-old that committed suicide. I'm a different person now.
Why are you crying? First of all, what are you feeling? Give me a feeling word. Give me a feeling word. What are you feeling right now? When you said, I'm obviously not that 18-year-old who committed suicide, and you start crying. It's good. I'm glad you're crying. I want to know what you're feeling right now. Feeling word.
I'm completely blanking. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. I want a feeling word for the tears. What are you feeling right now?
I felt so lonely then, and now I'm still alone.
So you are in some ways you are the same person, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's it's different in a way.
How is it different? What is the single biggest way that the loneliness is different?
because I was so insanely depressed then.
And versus now, you're what?
Now that I don't have the depression.
What do you have now?
Now it's just like I've got the chronic pain and I'm just alone with it.
Okay. So the internal emotional depression, you're lonely as well, but rather than the emotional depression with it, you have loneliness mixed with the chronic physical pain, correct?
Yeah, like it's a different type of loneliness.
Fair enough.
Not this like,
fair enough.
Because then it used to be this like this crushing, like it just felt so intense then.
Whoa.
And now it's just like I'm fine being alone. Like, you know, I'm comfortable being alone.
Sure. But alone and lonely are two very different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so going back to the original question, I had asked you, what do you still want from your mom? You said, I want love. And I said, if you got love, then what? It would come in the form of acceptance and, being accepted. And then I could be who I am. And I asked you, if you could be who you are around your family, then what? Then what? What would change outside of you or inside of you? If you could be who you are around family, then what?
Well, I just have this thought that like, if I can be who I am, like, won't they see me as who I am?
And if they saw you,
seeing me,
and if they
stop seeing me as that depressed kid, like,
and if they saw you as
an adult,
and see me as who I am, treat me as an adult, and if those two things happened, then what? Then what changes outside of you or inside of you? How does your life change?
Just being able to have like actual relationships with them.
And if you were able to have actual relationships with them, then what? Then what changes in your life?
Then maybe I'd have the support that I've always been wanting.
And if you had the support you've always been wanting, then what changes in your life?
And then ideally, I'm not lonely. I'm not alone all the time.
And which is it? Not lonely or not alone? Because we just drew a distinction.
Yeah. I mean,
which is
both.
It?
I don't know.
Pick one. Which is the bigger one?
Probably not alone.
So you'd have someone to spend time with you. And if you weren't alone all the time, then what changes in your life? Either outside of you or inside of you. What's the biggest change?
Well, it's so like right now with the chronic pain, like if I want to go anywhere more than like a half hour, like I need help. I need somebody to get me there.
So you'd have physical help in your life.
Yeah.
And if you had physical help in your life, then what changes in your life?
I mean, hopefully I'd be less stressed. I'd hopefully be happier. Like
less stressed.
Have some reasons to be around because
less stressed, happier, reasons to be around. Wait, that sentence could be interpreted in multiple ways. Reasons for people to be around you, or I still have a reason to be around in life?
Both.
Oh, so there is an aspect of you that considers maybe I don't have a reason to be around anymore.
There's definitely been points with the chronic pain where I was thinking I would get assisted suicide.
Yeah, and you know what? To be very honest with you, I have not ever had to deal with chronic pain, but the clients that I have had over the years, the way it's described, boy, I can honestly understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Boy, oh boy. But also, is it more the other that others would want to be around me? And then I would have the energy and I'd have some mobility. I'd be less stressed and I'd be happier. Actually, I want to back up. If you were happier, then what? What changes around you or inside of you? Because
I wouldn't be thinking about the assisted suicide.
Right.
Because
and then if you were happier and not thinking about assisted suicide, then what changes in your life? What's the biggest change in your life?
Maybe I'd find some purpose.
Okay. Purpose. Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're still wanting from your mom is love. If I had that love, I'd feel a sense of acceptance and I could be who I want to be around my family. Then they'd see me for who I am. Then I could actually have some relationships with them. Then I'd feel supported. I'd have the sort of support I always wanted. Then I wouldn't be alone. And I could get some physical help with all this chronic pain. Then I'd have less stress and I could actually be happy. Then I'd have some reasons for them to be around me and I would want to stick around, and then I could have a sense of purpose. So you're being you're being happy, you're getting some help in life, and you're having a sense of purpose are all contingent upon your mother giving you love. Your entire life, your happiness, your sense of purpose, and you're just getting some help and support. All of this is contingent upon one person.
And it sounds really stupid when you say it like that.
No.
It sounds stupid to me.
No. And if I imply that even 1 ounce of 1 fraction of 1/100th, I am sincerely sorry. I in no way meant to make you sound stupid.
I don't think you meant it that way, but when you say it that way, to me, it sounds really dumb.
Well, you know what? I think you've had plenty opportunity. I think you've gotten pretty good based on all the training you had. You've gotten pretty good at beating yourself up. You've had plenty of people beating yourself up in life. Let's not use my show as an opportunity to beat yourself up. You're an expert. They trained you well at beating yourself up. The last fucking thing you need is one more reason to beat yourself up. How about if we say, that's fucked up what they've done?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one person has stolen your life's power. And I mean, not just that one, but boy, top of the list, it's the only person you've been talking about today. Granted, we've focused on that one, but wow, that all that power, that she owns you.
Yeah.
That all of your happiness
you
and
could say
sense
my
of,
family in general. But
yeah, you could, but it's never the family in general.
I did focus on my mother because of that
but still, no. But still, in any family system, there's a person at the top of the motherfucking food chain.
Right.
And the family myth exists to protect the person at the top of the motherfucking food chain.
Right.
That's right. And she's the person who holds the key to your jail cell. You are in prison. You feel stuck and useless and exhausted. And if I could just get her to love me, then I could have the relationships. Then I could feel accepted. Then I could be happy. Then I could get some support. Then I wouldn't feel alone. And then I could have a sense of purpose with my life. She holds the key. It's all constructed. She holds the key to your jail cell, and everything in your life is constructed towards what do I got to do to get her to unlock the key to my jail cell. Doc, coming back over to you. Do you see how there's a overlay, Doc? Your family holds the key to the very jail cell you're in, don't they? It's the exact same fucking thing, isn't it, Doc?
Yes, but for some reason throughout this whole part, I've been thinking more about the love and acceptance for my own kid. That was more of a thing. I didn't think of my family during this time. I thought of, I love my child so much, and I work hard to understand her and I understand what she's going through. But I think she still feels I don't accept her.
Wow.
And that's the heartbreaking part. Is what can I do to prove that?
And now, wait a minute. I want to know what evidence you have. What evidence? See, you have a proclivity to feel guilt and to fear your children not liking you. I mean, we've well established that. So is this your own inclination to feel guilt and to fear your children not liking you? Or do you actually have evidence to think that your child still thinks that you don't accept her?
I mean, she has written letters to me saying that she wishes she wasn't such a disappointment and she's sorry for causing us so much pain and all this stuff.
Disappointment and pain.
That.
Wait, disappointment and pain. How recent are those letters, Doc?
Oh, that's been a while. That's been a while. But
and when she wrote those letters, how did you respond?
Oh, I told her that she's never a disappointment. She's never been, and I'm proud of her. I'm impressed with the way she's working through this and how she's so self-reflective, and how grateful I am that she's sharing this with me.
Okay, and so
I don't understand, but I'm trying.
Okay, and so then where I was going with the question that after coming over from Wendy is this notion of you're holding on to your family. You said 60% of the struggles going on inside of you are your family. And so I'll just ask the question straight up. What is it you're still wanting from your family? Because you're holding on to people who are rejecting you, your work, not wanting you, your work, not listening to your voice, and who are also, whether explicitly or implicitly, rejecting your child's gender identity. So what are you still wanting from them that you're putting up with all this shit?
Mm-hmm. I mean, with my dad, I have a good amount of distance there. I talk to him a couple times a year.
And the reason you still talk to him is what?
Yeah, I guess there's this guilt again. And there are moments where it feels like it could be okay, and then it goes back to the old.
So what are you still wanting?
That he could just say that one sentence you said before, that I'm sorry for the pain I've caused you.
And let me ask you then, with dad and with mom, now a little bit different question. I didn't ask this one of Wendy. Is it that what percent do you still want something from them? And what percent is it that you fear, that you keeping them in your life is because you fear something? What percent is it because you want something?
With my dad, you mean?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with dad.
I don't really know how much more I fear. I guess I just fear that, I mean, his health is bad. I'm afraid that I'll regret.
Oh, so you do fear something. Yeah. So what percent is it you want something from him, and no, it's okay. What percent is it you want something from him, and what percent is it you fear doing something? Or better, 90%, 90% fear?
Fear, yeah.
And what is the biggest thing you fear with regard to your dad that caused you to keep in your life a person who rejects you, doesn't accept you? What's the fear?
Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe he does actually accept me, and
what
can't communicate.
Fair enough. And what evidence do you have that he might actually accept you?
I mean, he tells everyone how proud of me he is. He's always saying kind things, but it's only when it makes him look good, right? It's only for him to brag.
So he's using you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I think things might be a little bit different, because he has gotten better with age, but the second we're back in that situation, it's the same thing again. But I just keep giving chances, I guess, and I don't know. It's stupid, I guess.
No, and no one's saying it's stupid.
I do love him.
Okay. Right. And I'm willing to bet.
And I don't want to hurt him.
Right. Yeah. And yet he continues to hurt you. And what is it? What percent are you still wanting something from mom, and what percent is it you fear something with regard to mom?
No, I want. See, my mom and I have, like I said, have had a very good relationship for the most part. I dance around topics so that we don't make it too uncomfortable at times. We got to a really good place, and then the last 10 years politically, and then my children, then I'm back to, now I have to pick between my mom, who I talk to every day, who she is my, I would be incredibly sad to miss out on that, but I know I have to probably do that to stand up to for my own child.
Wait a minute. I have to pick between my mom and my own child, and you said I probably have to pick.
No, I have to. I have to pick my child, but as far as do I have to pick my child and completely disown my family? Or can I find some kind of balance where I stand up for my child and I still have a relationship with my mom? I don't want, but I need to always pick my child, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because your child is 13, right?
Yeah.
And defenseless.
But I really love having my mom in my life, though. I
right.
do.
Right. It's a hard choice indeed. A hard choice. And yet you have a responsibility to give to your child what your mother didn't give to you. A recognition of your daughter's voice. It would seem to me. I mean, you're saying they didn't honor my voice. They don't honor my voice.
I know.
Right. So aren't you a categorically better parent if you give to your child the very thing you weren't given?
But can I do that without disowning my parents?
Is
there any way?
Well, sure.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just stand up to them.
Keep it a secret.
If they choose, You just stand up to them if they choose to walk away, and you stand up to them every time they attempt to denounce your child. And if they continue to do it, then you have to walk away.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes we have to do that. Wendy, what's going on inside of you?
You sound like a pretty great mom, Doc. Wish I had that. I feel like my mom didn't pick me. And I'm non-binary as well, so I understand some of that gender-related stuff, and I'm planning to get top surgery at some point, and I'm not telling any of my family, and the thought of them seeing me post-top surgery is pretty scary.
What's the scariest part, Wendy?
I have no idea how they'll respond.
And yet it's scary. And you correct me if I'm wrong. It's scary because you're wanting a particular response from them.
Yeah, I want them to be happy for me. I don't want them to be like, oh my God, you mutilated your body.
Right. You are still wanting something from them. And as long as we want something from someone, they have the power to make us miserable by withholding it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting your family's approval and their support. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not bad. But it means they will, as long as you want something from them, their support, their acceptance, their approval, as long as you want that, they will have power over you. They will have the power to make you hate yourself.
I don't want them to have that power, though.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which means going into precisely what we're going into and precisely the messaging that you were taught about yourself. Now, can I ask you another question? We don't have a lot of time here left, Wendy, but I want to ask you this question. Have you ever in your life, this is going to sound weird, but have you ever in your life hated your mother? Ever?
I can't think of any specific circumstance right now, but I'm sure there's been points.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And ever in your life hated your father?
Well, he's abandoned me even more than my mother, so yes.
Okay. And do you hate your dad presently?
It's more like just accepting he's a bigot and
What's the most do you think you've ever hated your dad?
After I came out, he sent me this really stupid, basically happy birthday, little girl. And I just was I didn't respond because it was just what the fuck?
So you hated him then. How old were you and what percent did you hate yourself then?
This was just a couple years ago. And I was really pissed off at him.
So what percent did you hate him?
I mean, probably 100%, honestly, because...
That's fair. And that's reasonable. So other than that, though, you really hadn't hated him in your life.
I definitely loved my father more than my mother.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And then there hit a point where he was never there anymore.
And roughly what age was that?
Somewhere, actually, no, it was probably either just before my suicide or shortly after.
So right around 18. All right. Let me ask you this, Wendy. Do you believe that feelings are very natural responses to life circumstances?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if somebody breaks up with you, it's natural that you would feel, such as in Wendy's case, such as in Doc's case, that you would feel sad, or you might feel guilt, or you might feel angry, or angry or betrayed or hatred or whatever. Okay, natural responses. So depending on the stimuli coming in at life, I might feel any number of natural responses. Okay. I just find it interesting. You ask, the idea of, what's implicit in each of you writing into the show is, how do I heal from this shit?
Yeah.
Right. We established earlier, Wendy, that by the time you're 18, you hate yourself 75%. We established, Wendy, that when you're around 10 years old, you hate yourself 10%.
Right.
Yet, you don't really recall ever hating your mom. You don't really hate your father till you're 18. So the two most powerful people in your life, you never hated. Yet they taught you to hate yourself.
I mean, I had to have hated them.
You
like,
would think,
at least
and yet, you found it very easy to answer the question, have you ever hated yourself? And very difficult to answer the question, have you ever hated them? Which means you have been pre-programmed to hate yourself. And you've had there's some automatic shutoff valve when it comes to this notion of considering strong feelings of animus, hatred, anger towards them. You've been preconditioned to hate yourself, and you're not allowed to have strong feelings. And yet you yourself said hatred, anger, sadness, disappointment, these are all natural responses. And you were being laughed at as a child. There was a divorce going on. Your feelings were minimized and you were taught to hate yourself, but you weren't allowed to have your feelings towards them. You want to know how you heal from what's going on in your life? You have to go inside yourself, and you have to, either alone or with assistance, you have to, and I say this with the most amount of love that I'm capable of conjuring in my being, you have to get real about your real feelings inside of you, because somebody taught you a whole line of shit. And the line of shit is that your feelings ain't real and they ain't good. And you got so much fucking hatred inside of you. And you got so much we know the sorrow is in there, and that comes out like that. And that's beautiful. But you got so much fucking rage and hatred inside of you. And you've been taught to take it out on yourself your entire life. And that's bullshit. The child was conditioned to take the anger out on herself. And you've been doing it your entire life. It does not make sense that a child is conditioned to hate herself, but not the people who taught a child to hate herself. No way. And I am in zero way blaming you for this, Wendy. Zero. This is your conditioning. You want to know how you heal? You've got a vault inside of a vault. And inside that inner vault is all of your real feelings and the core beliefs you were taught about yourself. That's the real shit. And until that shit comes out, you are this self-hater. When I ask you, do you hate yourself now? And you say no, I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy it for a second. I think the reason, and I could be wrong, and I say this with the utmost humility and the absolute certainty that I could absolutely be wrong. And if I am wrong, Wendy, if this does not resonate inside of you, you can tell me to go fuck a duck. I will not be offended, all right? I've been wrong 100 times already today. This wouldn't be the first. So I say this with deference to your own understanding of your own self, all right? But you are so hyper conditioned by the people who raised you to hate yourself, because that's what you've been treated with: contempt, neglect, and loathing.
Well, and you said it's a vault within a vault, but I think it goes
another vault.
I think there's 5 vaults.
Probably. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
How do I even get to that first one? And
yeah, well, let me.
I even question my own memories.
Well, and see, that's
childhood.
Just it. That's right. And I don't doubt that Doc has some of that going on too, because when you're taught to distrust your own voice, and when you're taught that your opinions don't matter and your feelings don't matter, you don't know which way is up. And so when you doubt your own feelings, you know what I do with clients in session when they don't even trust their own memories? I tell them that within the context of our session, within the context of my office, your memories are gold. I don't want to hear your doubt of your memories. I don't give 2 fucks what other people have said about your memories. In my office, I don't want to hear their fucking voices. In my office, I want to know your voice. I want to know your memories. I want you to treat your memories as if your brain fucking functions just fine. Thank you very much.
Right.
That's how you got to treat it. You got to give yourself permission to trust your memory. Because I haven't gotten any indication today that your brain ain't functioning well. Trust what you got. And here's the thing. And this is where it gets scary. Go into the memories that you have, even if the memory is only from yesterday when you were calling the insurance company about that bill you got from the doctor and the insurance company was giving you the fucking runaround and it was all the fucking frustration. Do your journaling on that. Start there. Journal the fuck out of that thing. Why? Because you got feelings in there regarding that phone call. Or you got feelings in there regarding when you were, taking the car and you got cut off on your way to the doctor's office and gosh, I'm angry about that, blah, blah, blah. Or how you couldn't find someone to drive you, whatever it is. Journal on that. And the more you get used to journaling and flushing and so forth, guess what? Your soul sends up another memory. It sends up that memory from Christmas when, your family didn't call you, blah, blah, blah. And then it sends up another memory. And then it starts accessing more memories. Why? Because it realizes you're getting stronger. And it realizes you can handle a little bit more and a little bit more. And then guess what? You're going to have a dream, and then you're going to remember something from that dream, and then you're going to, and a little bit more. Have you read Love Cup yet? Have you read the book?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's going to take you right in there. That's going to take you right in. And I have a feeling, and I know that Doc has read the book, I believe, and I have a feeling that book may scare the living fuck out of you.
Yeah, I have a feeling it will as well.
But then you're faced with a choice, Wendy. And the choice is, do you want to finally fucking heal? Because the price of healing is actually facing the shit. That's the price.
Yeah,
and
it's just hard to focus on healing the emotional part
when you got
the physical body is.
Amen.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. I also know this, and I have clients who have chronic things or acute things with their body, and I can't help with that. That is way outside of anything I know anything about.
Even my doctors can't help with it. So, yeah.
Right. And so, but you've come to me because I want to find happiness, is what you said. And you came to me knowing I can't help you with the chronic stuff. And you just said right now, it's hard to. Yes, it is hard to. But if I'm being really honest with you, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you don't have a choice. You have to do the hard thing. In this case, the hard thing is going into that shit inside it. You don't have a choice, kiddo. You have to. And even if it's like back when I was an NCAA strength coach and I get somebody who hadn't worked out in 5 years and they're 100 pounds overweight, even if you give me 1 day this week, and then next week you give me 1 day, and then the week after that you give me 2 days, and for 3 weeks you give me 2 days that I can work you out. Great, we're already seeing improvement. In other words, you do what you can. It's hard.
I'm working on minutes, not days.
Understood, but you get my point. The point is you got to do what you can, because the truth is, if you still think about suicide, and believe I was suicidal for 12 years suicidal depression. I have been there without the chronic physical pain, but I have been in the emotional pain where I wanted to slip my wrists every single day, and that's how I did it eventually. I know that, and I had to get myself out. I know the minute to minute. I got it. But I don't know the chronic pain. I'm not speaking for that. But you don't have it. You're fundamentally having to answer moment to moment. Do I want to live or do I want to die? But at some point, if you want to live, you've got to choose differently. That was my grand fucking revelation from my suicide. Great. That's all the insight I get. But that was it. I got to choose differently. Do I want to live?
And the fact that I'm still alive right now, it's like, well, I must want to on some level.
That's exactly right. And even when you kill yourself, if you were to choose that, you die deep down still wanting to live.
Yeah.
And
because it's not that I don't want to live.
That's right.
It's that I don't want to be in pain.
That's right. But the emotional pain, you even said you want happiness. So by the mere fact that you're saying you want happiness, you're conceding the fact that you believe it's possible even with the chronic pain.
Yeah.
Right. So you're admitting it's possible. So, and again, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, Wendy, but you got to do the fucking work.
Yeah.
I have clients and I have people that I've counseled for free, and people who are homeless and they're alcoholic and I want to be happy. I have people who have 5 kids and they're single moms and they're living in a fucking hovel. I want to be happy. And I believe it's possible, Sven, even though I'm dirt poor and I have 5 kids because my ex left me with nothing, blah, blah, blah. I've heard every story in the book. Sven, I have a bullet in the face from a Russian sniper and I'm dying. I want to be happy with what I have left. Sven, I'm 80 years old and I've been told my entire life by my parents and that I'm dog shit and I just want to be happy for whatever years I have left. And you're in a dire situation, but you can be happy. You believe it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come on the show and you wouldn't have said, I want happiness. And the mere fact that you want it says you believe it's possible. Now you have to own it.
Well, and that's why I came on the show as well, is because, like, nothing's worked so far.
That's right.
Like, and something needs to start working.
And that thing that is going to work, and I hate to say this because it just sounds dickish, but you.
Yeah.
There isn't what it is, it's a choice. And it sucks. I don't want to fucking do that kind. But let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you one glimmer of hope about this that I absolutely believe. The work is hard, it's ugly, it's dirty, and it's nasty, but it doesn't have to take forever. The one thing I absolutely believe in is that healing of this sort does not have to take a long time. That the deeper you go, the faster it happens. All right, now I'm going to ask you each one more question, and then we're going to wind it up, okay? Doc, I'm going to go back over to you. And Doc, where are you at? How are you doing? What's going on inside of you? We've covered a lot of ground with you. Where are you at?
I just want to say, Wendy, you can do this. You can do this. And you're not alone, even if you just have us here and all of Sven's listeners, right? I mean, you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
It feels like it. It does. But I wish I could call you. I mean, you're not alone.
Amen.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm not.
And
I mean, you can feel alone. I don't mean that.
And Doc, where are you for you? In the
I feel
stuff
like
that we've covered for your life, where are you at?
Yeah. I've learned so much from this now of what more I can do for my kids.
What's your biggest
and what not to do?
What's your biggest epiphany that you've had today?
How more can I prove my acceptance and love to my kids? I guess. What can I do?
And the biggest thing you can do is fucking accept yourself.
Yes.
Nothing
Okay.
Nothing is going to change your parenting more than you finally falling in love with yourself, because that will change everything. Because your dislike of yourself, your distrust of yourself is infecting every single decision you make, especially your parenting. And Wendy, what's going on inside of you? What are you feeling? What's going on inside of you, Wendy?
Just like, I've known that I need to make changes, but it's just like...
What's the scariest part?
It's just so hard to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm crying so much right now, and I know, like, through doing the work, it's just like so much to feel.
It is.
It ends up being too much.
Yep.
At times.
That's right.
It's just like when you combine the physical pain with the emotional pain, it's just too much to handle.
It is. And if you do it in small doses, little bit by little bit, I know you don't believe it right now. Just a little bit.
What about all at once, like a Band-Aid? Is that good?
Well, if that were possible to do it all at once, that would be nice. But when you got so much pain inside of you, even if just doing a little bit each day, and maybe you start with just writing a letter to your mother that you don't send. Maybe you start with writing a letter to a cousin who hurt you or something that you don't send, or journaling out, how am I feeling today? And you keep pecking away and you keep pecking away. But
it's just like, I tried to write a letter to my mom a little while ago, and it just, like, I got one paragraph in and it was like, I couldn't get any further.
But that's it.
Like,
but you did a paragraph. That's the point.
Right.
And then, you're not going to get healing in one sitting.
Yeah, it just, like, it doesn't feel like progress.
It's not. One paragraph is not going to be progress.
Yeah, exactly.
And one letter is not. But that's the point.
Right.
That's like going to the gym and saying, well, I worked on one machine at the gym today. I don't feel anything. This is bullshit. Gyms are bullshit. Yeah. It's a racket. And I'm not trying to treat you like a dummy. I'm just saying it is, you got to turn the wheel. I mean, you got to fucking do the work. And it sucks. But I guarantee you that if you do the work, and again, I had to get myself out of a 12-year suicidal depression. I am a believer, an absolute believer in self-help. Yeah, therapists can be good, but I'm a believer in self-help. I really am. You can do this shit alone. And starting out, it's always hardest. But once you get a little momentum and build a little momentum, you pick up momentum. It's like, wait, I'm feeling a bit lighter today. That actually helped. That realization lifted a little burden today. All right. And the more you do it, the more success you're going to have, and you're going to begin to actually feel a change. But in the beginning, no, you're just doing it on belief and hope. And just, I'm sick of this shit.
That's what I mean. It's like I'm just at the very start, and it feels like I'm never going to get anywhere.
That's right. And you have no other choice at this point, and it's trusting.
Yeah.
You got to trust. And any final words that you have, Wendy, for Doc?
Yeah, just, keep supporting your kids. And I think when you're going through gender stuff, and you try to tell someone that has never gone through those things, it can feel like they will never understand. Like, understanding is not the only purpose of it, because acceptance goes a long way as well, and hopefully the understanding will come over time. Or maybe it won't. Sometimes it doesn't for anybody. But at least there's the acceptance.
And I'll bet in some ways,
Thank you for that.
yeah, I'll bet in some ways Doc is the mom you always wish you had had.
Well, yeah, some acceptance would definitely be appreciated.
Yeah. Well, ladies, I want to thank you, and forgive me, Wendy, for saying ladies, considering you're non-binary. I apologize for that.
It's okay. I was kind of assuming Wendy is a woman, and I am not.
Right. And I did not know that at the beginning, so forgive me. To those of you that listen to our show that don't know, I name all of our guests, and I go based on, and so that was my mistake. Anyway, to you good people who were guests on my show today, thank you for being guests on the show and opening up and sharing your stories. And I believe in hope. And I really do. And I believe healing is possible. And I believe healing does not have to take forever. The deeper you go inside of yourselves, transformation can come much more quickly. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Sven. And thank you
Thanks for having me.
You.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. On behalf of KC in the booth and Rob the Rocket next to me, I want to thank you all for tuning into the Badass Counseling Show. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.